So Weekly Shonen Jump just released 2 brand new series, and it honestly doesn't seem that it's been that long ago since the previous batch, but here we are. So I'm here to read the first chapter of each of the new series and talk a little bit about it, kind of like I do with any new series that comes up in Weekly Shonen Jump. This video is going to be like the previous one. It's going to be unscripted, so I'm going to read the first chapter. I'm going to talk a little bit about my first thoughts and how I think it's going to survive within the magazine. If you've seen the previous video, you know why, but we're just going to jump right into it. So the first series is called Martial Master Asumi. First, before I even get into it, that we're getting a new manga, like a new sports manga, just right before we got Do Retry, which is a boxing manga. This one is an MMA manga. I find kind of interesting that they're like going for this. I'm fine with it. I don't think the Do Retry is going to do well. The first chapter was okay, but I don't know. There's a couple of problems I've had with the chapters that came afterwards. I think it's a little bit too loud. The guy with the giant arm, it's a weird choice. So just looking from the image of the manga, the one that they have on Shonen Jump, on Manga Plus actually, it kind of reminds me of another manga that is called Kenichi the Mightiest Disciple. It's kind of like a 2000s martial arts manga. I never actually read it. I remember it being kind of popular when I got into manga. And I don't know, just something about the pose. It reminds me of it. Again, since I never read Kenichi, I don't really know how similar it's gonna be. Also, see, this is by the author of Inomaru Sumo, Kawada. Kawada this is apparently just his name. I never actually read Inomaru Sumo, so I'm kind of curious to see what it can do. But because it is by a previous mangaka that has worked on a popular, or at least semi-popular sports series, I'm kind of hopeful that this one is gonna be much better than Do Retry is currently being. So yeah, I'm just gonna jump into it. Okay, yeah, it was a good chapter. I think somehow a little bit better than Do Retry's first chapter was. Though Do Retry did things that I like better. I'm comparing both of them because they're released more or less at the same time. I know only one of them is going to survive. If one of them is going to survive, there's no scenario where both of them do. The thing that I like about The Retry, to be fair, this one does as well, is the character motivation. The Retry, we do see why he wants to box. In this case, Nito, which is the main character, doesn't really have a reason to want to join MMA. That's basically the bulk of the chapter, is him kind of like refusing to join. Classic hero's journey stuff. He's probably gonna join next chapter. So yeah, basically this story is about Nito. Again, he really likes cute, dark-haired women with glasses, which can't blame him. I'm dating one. And he finds out that he meets one of them at a school, and she wants to be a pro MMA fighter. She kind of already is, or at least she already knows MMA by the time the story starts, and she kind of saves him from a bunch of bullies because he's being bullied, and because he's being bullied, his best friend also wants to join MMA because he wants to protect him, and he wants Nito to join the MMA as well, or not to join, to learn some martial arts, so they can basically be stronger and be able to protect themselves. The thing that the other characters don't know is that Nito has a grandfather who was a mixed martial artist. Now the grandfather has dementia, which the chapter kind of says that he has it because the main character's father died, which I don't think that's how dementia worked. And maybe I'm just interpreting it wrong, but that's how I feel like it. I don't know, I'm no doctor, but I don't think that's how dementia works. But the only time where his grandfather seems to be lucid and seems to be better, essentially, is when he's fighting with Nito. And so because of that, Nito has learned how to be, he has learned martial arts, even though he doesn't seem to realize that he knows that, because he doesn't seem to understand exactly what martial arts even is. He has trained with him for so long that he actually is a good martial artist and actually is very strong. He just doesn't want to show that to the people, because I guess because he feels like he doesn't want to escalate things, and we can see throughout the times that he gets bullied in this chapter that he jumps to stop the fights whenever other people join to defend him. And yeah, I like the character. I think even though he doesn't really have like a goal right now, it looks interesting to explore, and I kind of want to see him fall in love with mixed martial arts, which, if we remember one of the greatest sports manga of all time, Slam Dunk, the main character there, he didn't care about basketball at first. He joined basketball because he had a crush on the manager, and then he learned how to love basketball throughout the series. I can expect Martial Master Asumi to be similar, where the main character currently is kind of like joining because his best friend joined and because cute girl is training them, but he probably will fall in love. The art is good. The fact that it is by a successful mangaka that has had a decent manga. Again, Inomaru Sumu wasn't a big hit, especially because IQ was running at the same time, but I think it was a hit enough that I can see this manga be a bigger title, especially because right now we don't have an IQ, we don't have something that's gonna really surpass Asumi and be better than Asumi in sports manga. You can argue like Blue Box maybe, but that's not really a full sports manga, and maybe it's standing. I don't know. I hope it isn't, but I don't know. Again, we do have to retry. The retry is not gonna. I don't think the retry is gonna be able to compete, especially because the thing that lost me with the retry was that it quickly devolved into something that isn't really grounded sports in a really weird way. It was in a really weird way. This one seems to be far more grounded, and I think it's gonna remain like that. It also did pretty well in establishing, the basis of mixed martial arts. I kind of already know how it works. I assume most people do in the UFC era that we live in. I don't even care about UFC, but I've seen enough that I know the rules of MMA. I kind of know what it is. I think most people know, but it still did a good job at explaining it, which I think it's good. I really appreciate sports manga that go out of their way to really let us know what the manga is about, what the sport is about. And I think especially baseball manga, because I'm not American, I'm not Japanese, I didn't grow up with baseball. They never explain it, and that kind of sucks to me because I had to go learn the rules of baseball because I was reading a baseball manga and I really wasn't understanding anything that was happening. Kind of same thing with Ice Shield and football, American football. Or they didn't really explain it, and those rules are kind of complex, man. I liked it. Do I think it's gonna survive? I'm not sure. The thing is, we don't really have an idea of any series that are gonna end right now. To replace these two, I expect Mashal to be one of them, and that will be a natural end, I guess. Not gonna be cancelled. Maybe they'll cancel the series. I think if they're gonna cancel a series, maybe Fabricant 100. Still, I don't see like Fabricant 100 really showing axed signs right now, like really pushing into the end game. It doesn't feel like it right now, so I'm not gonna jump into a conclusion that it's gonna be axed. With that said, I don't think there's gonna be a lot of space. There's probably a lot of other manga that they might be able to cancel first, because I don't think the retry is doing well. I don't think Tenmaku is doing well. Fabricant isn't doing well. I don't know how well Ichinose's family is doing. I think the Ichinose family should end. That's a topic for another video. So there's a lot of like manga that could end before Asumi, and maybe keep it enough in the magazine long enough that it does gain an audience. And it does stay. I hope that happens because we need a sports manga. I said that in the retry, and the retry I kind of wanted to succeed, kind of just based out of like desperation. Even though I do want the author to have a success because I do like the author, I don't think the retry is it. So This one, first chapter, looks like it has the quality. It looks like it has the basis of a good sports manga. It has good characters. It has good art. It has shown enough of the sport where I'm kind of confident that the mangaka is able to do decent matches and keep them entertaining and keep them visually interesting. So it's a good foundation. We need to see how it goes. That's always what I say at the end of these things, because that's the thing. We need to see how it goes. But foundation, first chapter, looks nice. I hope it stays. Let's jump into the new manga, which is Ice Head Gill, or Jill. We'll see. It's a battle shonen. And just from the get-go, the main character reminds me of, I forgot his name, the guy from Demon Slayer, the one from the train movie, the fire dude. That's what it reminds me of. I don't know. I don't care about new battle shows right now. I think we had enough. But let's see how the first chapter of this one is, and if it's good enough. I mean, I said Gill is it's a battle shonen. The main thing that I see that it's kind of like different from the rest of current Shonen Jump battle shonens, Viking based, I guess. Like the setting is in Northern Europe, which I guess is not that common. The rest of the chapter, however, kind of feels like Demon Slayer, and I say this, I think visually it reminds me a lot of it. Of course, the setting is different. It's not Japanese. It has different visual influences, but it still has a decent amount of visual influence from Demon Slayer as well. The head of a character also reminds me a lot of it. There's definitely a lot of Demon Slayer vibes. But okay, so the story of the manga sees the main character Gill being stranded in an island. I think it's an island with this woman who we calls Auntie Mela, and his little village, which kind of adopted him since his father essentially killed the prince of whatever kingdom this is. He ran away, ended up in this island, and this has been 2 years since then. The main character is a little kid, but he's super cool with an axes, and he even protects the island from whatever Viking pops up and tries to attack it, and we see that happening. But after we see that happen, after the guy comes up and he beats him with an axe and everything, I actually thought that maybe this was gonna be not a supernatural battle shonen. Thought maybe it would be kind of like a more of shonen based villain saga in a way, but it isn't. We learn about the liches not soon after, which are kind of like, I guess, zombies. They possess the bodies of the dead. At least that's what we see happening in this chapter. A boneless creature, not a boneless creature, actually just a boned creature, because he only has bones, pops into the island, kills one of the characters, and kind of like possesses his body. And our main character fights it with his very cool hammer that he got from his dad, and essentially kills him. And that's kind of like the spot where he beheads him. And the face reminds me a lot of the demon that gets killed in the first chapter of Demon Slayer. Though I gotta say, Gill's art is far better than Demon Slayer was. Not that it is amazing. I mean, at least the double spread was pretty cool. I'll say that. But it is a solid art style. I think it's better than Demon Slayer ever was, even with the Demon Slayer influences. As far as the quality, this is 101 battle shonen. Guy is a mentor. They are attacked. The main character fights it, and then he leaves on a quest. In this case, the quest is defeating leeches. We'll say that I'm kind of happy I'm tired of the Exorcist manga. This one is a little bit different in that regard. It reminds me a lot of more kind of like 2000s influenced battle shonens as well. But I don't know. There is not really anything in this chapter that really surprises me, that I feel like it's really new, other than the setting. Sure, the setting didn't change enough in the manga for me to think like, okay, this is something I want to watch. This is something that I want to read. A world that I want to figure out. I really don't. I'm not interested in the world that it has to offer, at least right now, at least from what it introduced in the first chapter. The liches are just villains. They're just the other kind of enemy. It's just kind of like the generic enemy style from battle manga. The main character feels like just a generic happy-go-lucky main character from battle shonens. It's not horrible. There's definitely a lot of worse battle shonens that I've read in recent Weekly Shonen Jump. I wouldn't rank this in like bottom 5 battle shonens that I've read, like chapter 1s. But I don't think it's gonna last. I think we have enough battle shonens that just a generic isn't gonna last. That is it. There's a joke in here about him being the master of axes and the manga getting axed. There's a joke there. I'm too tired to come up with a good one, with a smart one, but you come up with one and put it on the comments below. Algorithm. It's not. I'm gonna bet this one's not gonna survive. It's not really just a let's see. I'm gonna bet this one's not gonna last long at all. That is fine. That is fine by me. So yeah, that is the video. If you want to know my opinions on all the other chapter 1s of all the other Shonen Jump series that I've started since 2021, you can check the playlist that should pop up on your left. On your right should be another video, probably topical. And if you watch still here, thank you very much, and I'll see you next video.